Hi, I'm Kyle with Fielding Tree Care, and today we're going to talk about the Catalpa, the Western Catalpa, Catalpa speciosa. The Catalpa is one of my favorite trees that we have here because we live in a climate that is obviously ever changing and very cold in winter, yet we have this tree that just looks like it belongs in the tropics. If you saw this in Hawaii, I would not be surprised. Some of my favorite things about this tree are its really big, distinct leaves and these cool pods. And sadly, we're not here in spring, but they have these wonderful white bouquets of flowers that are just gorgeous and have this really light, perfumey scent to them, kind of like a lavender scent, but really, really light. Um, Catalpas are a great urban tree. They mature fairly quickly. They will be, you know, 30 feet tall in the first 20 years or so, which is a really good size for, a yard, a front yard. Um, they have really good shade coverage, as you can see in the middle of the day because of these great leaves. The downsides to catalpas are they are constantly dropping something. So they're going to get flowers in spring, which drop. Then the giant leaves drop as soon as we reach winter. Then these pods turn brown and overwinter and tend to drop off with the new leaves coming in spring again or throughout winter. So you're constantly getting some sort of mess. They also tend to have a bit of a softness to the wood, so you might get branches breaking in severe windstorms or snow events. The upside of these trees with those snow events is that they leaf out very late in spring, almost summer, and they drop their leaves pretty early as we approach winter. So those late spring snowstorms and early fall snowstorms tend to miss this tree. So wind would probably be more of a factor with branch breakage. These trees are usually around zones 2 through 6. We would see them in a variety of soils. One of the great things about them is I have seen these on a hill in some rocks next to the street. I've also seen them down in a little riverbed. They will grow almost anywhere and do a fair job of it as well. They also tend to have a nice single trunk structure if they've kind of been left to their own devices. At most, you get 2 or 3 fairly vertical trunks. They'll tend to have that more kind of oval shape to the canopy. So they're good for not being too spread out for a property. Life expectancy is also fairly long. You'll get easily 60 years out of this tree in the right conditions. And they don't tend to have too many pest issues. One of the only things we've seen with this tree is something called verticillium wilt, which is a very sudden wilting of certain branches. Sometimes it'll be worse than that, but usually you can come in with some treatments or some proper pruning. And if you catch it early enough, you can isolate it and deal with it. It's also not very common. It's listed as like the main thing that'll go after this tree, but I've seen it maybe twice in the last 10 years in lots of these trees. Uh, the bark is this nice kind of dark gray, kind of flat color. Not super distinct, but the tree has plenty of distinct characteristics to go around. But you get these kind of broken up longitudinal fissures, kind of a plated bark. I'd say it's similar to like ash trees a bit, maybe a little less furrowed. But your big distinct features on this tree are obviously the leaves, these seed pods. This is where it gets its second name, the cigar tree. And then also, if we get in close, it's one of the only, well, it's the only deciduous tree with this whorled leaf pattern, usually in groups of threes. So that's the leaves all emanating from the same attachment point. There's only one other tree that could potentially be in this area that looks similar to this tree, and that's the empress tree. It has very similar leaves. Obviously, the most distinct characteristic when you're looking at one of these from afar, but it has an opposite leaf arrangement. So instead of having those groups of three all coming from the same attachment point, which is the whorled leaf arrangement, you will see pairs of two, and it'll have, say two this way, two this way, two this way, two this way. It also doesn't have this really, really distinct pod. It has more of a little rounded, pointy, nut-looking pod that is in clusters. They also will have kind of similar flowers that can be white, but range into the purples as well. The catalpa was originally planted throughout the United States as a wood to be utilized in fence posts and power line posts because of its straight nature and because it has a high rot resistance when in contact with the soil. Thank you so much for watching, and like and subscribe for more posts like this.